Jerry, thanks for coming, and Renee, thanks for coming to our Rancher Roundtable.
Thanks for inviting us.
You bet. Enjoyed it.
We've been privileged, honored to have you, amongst others, joining us for these 2 days. But please, tell us a little bit about yourself and your ranch.
Well, I'm Jerry Doan. We ranch in southern North Dakota there. Been there since 1882 when my great-grandfather came down out of Canada and lived in a sod house and homesteaded there in what was then Dakota territory. And so we have a lot of pride, a lot of heritage in the history of the ranch, and I'm fortunate to have my kids come back and want to be involved in agriculture.
That's big.
We don't see a lot of that this day, and so we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I think that's a real measurable of success right there.
Well, hopefully, and it creates excitement. It's brought a passion back to us, but families are dynamic and not always easy of the the push and the shove and how do we fit and how does it all work, but again, it would be really boring if they wouldn't have come back, and so we're excited about that.
Well, you use the word excited, you've used the word you love what you do through the last 2 days, and that just is a game changer. It's hard work. I wouldn't doubt that. But when you got your family involved, you're always going to have chemistry. Any business, any group of people, any team of people, you're going to have chemistry that you got to work through. It's not all plain sailing. But I love what you've done in bringing your family and making your ranching operation so that you can have fun and enjoy what you do. But tell us, it's probably a little more than just having fun.
Well, two of our main goals our holistic goals are bringing profitability back to the ranch, because in agriculture we generally miss that, honestly. And the second is trying to improve our quality of life and make it more fun. And for a good part of my life it probably wasn't that much fun. We were very traditional. You're working your self to the bone and not really having fun doing it. The boys brought that excitement and fun back again with adding some entities that bring profitability back, and then being involved in the regenerative agriculture is fun to me because we're improving our natural resources, we're improving our wildlife, and then what we've talked about here at the round table is telling that story, and it's the part that excites me. I love to tell people what we do, and that the public perception is wrong, and we're doing some things to really improve our whole ecosystem and put a good, healthy product on the table for them. Well,
that's great what you're doing, and you're doing the agritourism too, which I think is a key component, because you're bringing people to the ranch and they can see it firsthand. Here's a family existing and flourishing on this land. You got cows, you got buffalo, you got these other entities, and it's time that the American public saw this. We can do videos, we can do stuff like that, it's okay, but there's nothing like actually coming out there and breathing that good North Dakota air.
Well, absolutely. And I guess we take it for granted because you live it every day, and when people started to come and they just, I remember an individual that we actually became friends with from Washington, D.C., and he would just stop and say, "Listen," and I'm like, "What?" And it was maybe a coyote howling in the distance, but he said, "Look at the beauty of the stars in Washington, D.C. We can't see that." And we took that for granted, so it gave us an appreciation for what we have, and then sharing it with people so they understand what we're all about in agriculture.
Well, you share with us, and I'd like you to just touch on it. You have this with part of your agritourism. You have weddings and events, functions on your. Now, how does that mesh over with ranching? I mean, can it, or does it?
Well, it can, but again, we had to step back a little bit. Again, it's not traditional; it's different. But again, it's fun to spread that message. It brings another source of income in to help that ranch go, to bring the next generation back and make it all work. So, and then you get to hear the stories that the consuming public has and the perception they have, and you can help kind of try to mold them into the right perception.
The right perception.
And
yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah, because so many of them have the wrong perception.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're telling about that wedding where you're working cows right across the road.
Right.
How'd that go? I mean, that sounds like a gong show to me.
Well, and you know, we sometimes try to, when there's a group there, you're trying not to do things to disrupt. Well, we had to work these cattle, and so we've got a few hundred head of cattle immediately across the road from the Grand Lodge, and the cows are bawling, and Renee's kind of giving me heck that maybe you should quiet those cows down. You don't want to disrupt the wedding. But what I said was, gosh, these people were going across the road, they're taking pictures, they're looking at it,
There's
they're
the
talking
proof.
about it.
Yeah.
And I said, that we should probably do more of that. They're on a ranch, they want to feel it, they want to embrace it, and because they can't do that.
They're paying for the experience.
That's right.
And that's, to me, that's proof that the public wants our story. The public, I mean, if you got a wedding across the road from 200-300 cows bawling, you've chosen to do that, right?
Right.
You didn't stumble into it.
Yeah.
I think there's far more to this than we realize.
Well, there's a real mystique about the cowboy way in agriculture. We see this, you know, we've brought people from other countries there, and we may just give them a piece of, my son Jay did that, gave them a piece of barnwood, and they got to create a brand, and they're like little kids. The mystique of that cowboy way and touching agriculture, because most people don't get to do it. And we can sell that and then help tell the story, and that's so important.
Yes, yes. You were gonna say
I was just
something.
gonna say, most people don't invite 300 cows to their wedding. It's not quite the choir they were asking for, but at Blackleg Ranch, I guess anything happens.
Anything happens. But what I love in a bigger picture is the story you're telling by doing this, and it's an income stream, so that's brilliant. But you know, if I pull my phone out, I could watch a video on Blackleg Ranch. I'm sure they're on YouTube.
Right.
But if I come to your ranch, all my senses are affected. And this sounds pretty elementary, but it's
Right.
true. I smell, I see, I touch, I feel, I experience, I might even taste.
Right.
You got a brewery too, right?
Yeah, we do.
Do.
So you see that sensory attraction, and that's how people are.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to sell the story. Not sell it, but communicate it.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, and then when they see, you know, the blue sky, the abundant grassland, the wildflowers,
Yeah.
the animals that are in good condition and in good shape, and then if we can offer them a beef meal or a buffalo meal, and it's nutritious and it's a great eating experience, and maybe a beer that we brewed right there on the ranch, they go home and they go, wow, this is what it's all about. Consumers want to connect today with a producer they feel good about.
Yes.
Not maybe every consumer, but there's a vast growing segment of the consuming public that wants that. We need to embrace that and give that to them, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yes. Well, I think you're an example for the ranching industry. We've always known in our business, we have an old worn out saying, people buy from people.
Right.
People buy from people they like, and people buy from people they trust. Now, isn't that the story?
Absolutely.
I like you, I like your product, I see your ranch, I trust it.
Yep.
It's good, clean, wholesome food, I'm in.
That's right.
That's the connection. Now, the circuit is going,
Right.
and I'm like, I want your beef.
Yep.
Do you ship to Minnesota?
We can.
How about the beer? Does that get shipped?
Not yet.
That might be harder. Those liquor laws.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us. Any feedback for us from this Rancher Roundtable discussion?
Well, I'd like to commend you guys. I really appreciate a company I've watched for 2 days the energy that you have here as a company, and you're looking for answers and how can you help and look at the big picture of the beef industry and agriculture and how can we fit in to make a difference. I commend you because a lot of companies aren't doing that, and it's been just doggone fun to be involved. Well, we've had a good time with it all, but we've laid some serious issues on the table, family issues, industry issues, nutrition issues, soil health issues, and we brought that around in a circle, and it comes right back to the middle of this whole perception and public issues that we've got to work on as an industry and bringing that together.
And unite.
And we've talked about that, and you guys are engaged in that. So my hat's off to you as a company for trying to do your part.
Easy on the compliments. I'm not used to that. the thing is, some people poke fun at us. Well, of course, you bring in everybody together so you can sell them Riomax.
We understand that.
And I will say to that, look, if Riomax is a fit for your equation to drive your profitability, then go ahead and use it because you're stupid not to. And if it's not a fit, don't use it. Is that simple enough?
It is simple.
That is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I don't believe we've grown as a company by smooth talking salesmen or arm twisting. I think either it's got to make sense to drive your economic engine or don't do it. I mean, when I had that one car garage, people would walk in, and I was glad when they did. And I'd say to them, if I can't earn your business, I don't deserve your business.
Right.
Here we are 18 years down the road, and we cover US and Canada, we've grown a bit, and I'm still saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And I mean it. If I can't earn your business, I don't deserve it. But you know what? I am going to work to earn it. I'm going to work hard.
No, when you invited us here, we really didn't know what to expect.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah, in this round table, and we were just really surprised and amazed at what we did, the discussion we got into, and it was all very helpful. And to learn that people from Canada and the United States all have the same issues.
Yes.
And if we all work together to try and solve these, that I think we can sell more of our product.
Yeah.
And I have to echo Jerry, hats off to your company for your 10 core values and living those every day. Your staff is amazing, and
thank you. They are. Well, I always say this, and I've just heard it from Brad out there too. He said the same thing. I surround myself by people smarter than myself, and it's never been hard to do. And when I was sitting in that one car garage, I didn't have lofty dreams of changing the world. But I did have a dream about digestion and how we could bring digestion to the livestock industry. You asked me how it got started, and I never did tell you, but sitting in this one car garage, the door open, garage door, as garages have, I'm looking out, and there's a cornfield right next to me. This is in Vesta, Minnesota. And I'm frustrated. I'm a year into my business. I'm frustrated with myself. I'm frustrated with my company. Well, if you can even call it that.
Right.
And what I'm selling is vet supplies. 20 miles this way, 18 miles this way, people are doing the exact same thing. And I'm just vanilla flavored. I'm bringing no value to the industry. And I'm frustrated. Frustration is not all bad, because you get frustrated enough with yourself, something might happen. And I'm looking out that door, and my mind went back to high school, call it an aha moment, whatever you like, where I learned about human digestion. Nothing to do with livestock. But I was intrigued, always intrigued with digestion. And my mind went back, and I thought, how can we bring that to this playing field, livestock? I had the question, I had no idea of the answer. I knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't know how to get there. But on that day of July 2003, that happened. The journey we're on today, and we're not done, but the journey we're on today started on that day back in that one car garage.
Cool.
There's nothing to brag about, that is the story.
Wow.
Well, you're a lot like maybe we are in a way. You're taking
I wouldn't put myself quite at that
No,
echelon.
but seriously, you're taking livestock supplementation to a different level, looking at it in a different way.
Yeah.
We're taking regenerative agriculture, trying to look at our ranch and our ranching situation in a different way, more positive, a more fun way,
Yeah.
and yet one that hopefully leads us to a better place at the end. And
That's it.
so I think we're on the same path.
I think we might get on after all.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I always say we are disrupting the supplementation
Yeah,
industry.
absolutely.
And I don't mean that to be intimidating to other people. I mean, I respect the other folks in the industry and they do a great job. But we're disrupting it in the favor of the rancher.
Right.
Because I believe if we don't go to bat for the rancher, then the rancher's not going to be there for us.
Right.
And if he's not there or she's not there, we're not there.
Right.
Simple. Simple.
Yep.
Call it cowboy logic. Call it
All work
whatever.
together.
Yeah. So what's that disruption? It's IST, Indirect Supplementation Technology, squeezing more out of every mouthful.
Right.
If you look behind you, there's a screen rotating. Everything I see is forage, forage, forage.
Right.
And our job is to provide the key or the catalyst to those cows
Right.
to get more out of everything in their diet. It is common sense. It's not rocket science.
Well, and then another big key to your products are we're putting things in the rumen that when they come out the other end should be working for soil health, not causing problems with soil health.
Ooh, that's we could go on another half hour, right?
Well, we could, but
Should we?
but that's huge.
It is. I mean, I have such admiration for you guys and Grant and Don Breakrates and many others that are, on the tip of the spearhead on this soil health thing. But where we as an industry have got it so wrong, I say we, but I'm excluding our company out of it.
Right.
The feed industry, we create cheap feed.
Yeah.
So we're building products to a price point, not to a quality benchmark, but to a price point in this industry. So we throw sulfates and oxides into the mix because they're cheap.
Right.
Sulfates and oxides, that copper sulfate for instance, is the same thing they use in dairy foot baths
Right.
to kill the bacteria in the
when they
hoof.
go in, yeah.
Which is nothing wrong with that. But we also use that in the rumen.
Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with this picture?
Right.
Dr. Spears did studies to show that sulfates and oxides had a negative effect on rumen bacteria. So the very troops that are trying to fight this war and break down your forages,
Right.
we're feeding a cheap mineral and it's killing someone.
Killing someone.
Then it's not absorbed, it's very low absorption rate, so we're not getting it into the blood. That's OWI number 2. First of all, it's hurting rumen bacteria. Secondly, it's not getting into the blood. OWI number 3, you mentioned, it gets into the soil.
Yeah.
And now we start hurting soil bacteria. 3 strikes and you're out.
Exactly.
And all we did was build a product to a price benchmark and overlooked 3 very, very fundamental points.
Yeah.
So we use, just one last bit, we use 100% rumen bypass protected trace minerals.
Right.
So it gets into the blood. Sorry, go on.
Well, and that's all good, and we're huge on trying to grow the biology in our soil
Yeah,
because we have allowed over years and years of tillage and bad grazing practices, our biology is dead. We've got blocked up soil that's not productive. It's not granulated. It's the worms are gone. The biology's gone. And
It's dead.
And so we test on our ranch. We test our biology all the time, and we're constantly trying to improve. So the last thing we want to do, and some of us are doing it, not even thinking about that sulfates and those things are bad for us. But if you're putting that into your soil and you're counteracting what we're trying to build on the biology side, that's not a good thing. So,
well, you're taking 2 steps forward and one back, but hey, you're still going
Yeah,
forward.
exactly.
But I'm saying, can we do this a little better? Can we take 2 steps forward and maintain that ground? That hard fought ground that you fought for in your movement that you're doing with
Right.
soil health.
Well, and we know the dung beetles are really
Yeah.
helpful. We're doing a study on our ranch right now. Some folks out of South Dakota are doing a whole study, the economic side and dung beetles, and I'm interested to see how that comes about. But it's caused us to change some of the products we're using on the cattle because they were taking out dung beetles, so we're not using those anymore.
Right. Right.
But most of us never thought about the mineral side or what we're putting into that rumen, that it's affecting those things that you just said. So we better start paying attention to that.
It comes right back to all the little things that add up.
Right.
Because a lot of people feed mineral just to check the box.
Well, exactly.
I was talking to a rancher in Alberta once, and he said, yeah, he's using Riomax. He said, we used to use that feel-good mineral and da-da-da. I said, you used to use the what? And he said, that feel-good mineral. He says, you go buy the cheapest stuff you can get, you feed it to the cows, and he says, you feel good, but they don't. So you check the box, we fed mineral.
Yeah.
Did it get into the blood? No. Did it hurt rumen bacteria on the way? Yes. Did it hurt soil bacteria? Yes. What did we get done? We fed mineral. That's all. We left a whole bunch of other blocks unchecked.
No, that's a good point.
But you know what? Where I see some similarities, maybe because we're both half goofy or something, but you've got a spring in your step. You've got energy. You enjoy what you do. You don't have to tell us. We can just pick up the vibes. Well, that's how I feel about what we're doing. Because when we get out of bed in the morning, we're going to go to work and impact some ranching operation somewhere for the better. And that's not peddling feed. It is impacting lives.
That's right. Absolutely.
So you use the same science in your equine products too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The equine products would be, obviously it's a equine versus bovine, so there are some slight differences, but the science is the same. And certainly that has a few added bells and whistles. It is our most recently developed product. It just came out earlier this year, and it does include essential oils, which is a whole new.
Yeah, I'm heavy into essential.
Are you?
So, yeah.
So you tell me what they do. I mean, when you start asking what they're good for, it's joint health, and it goes on. But
Yeah.
this is you've got me out of my depth right here.
That's okay.
Okay, well, again, I thank you both, Jerry and Renee, for coming. It's been our honor and our privilege to have you, and I wish you safe travels back to beautiful North Dakota.
You bet. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much. We
Thank you.
enjoyed it.